Well, a Muslim group in Nigeria called Boko Haram shocked the world when its leader declared that it would sell the nearly 300 girls it has kidnapped into slavery, saying that's consistent with the precepts of Islam. Well, here's what former Secretary Hillary Clinton said about it on Wednesday.
The seizure of these young women by this radical extremist group, Boko Haram, is abominable, it's criminal, it's an act of terrorism, and it really merits the fullest response possible.
An act of terrorism, she says now, and yet for 2 years as leader of the State Department, Hillary Clinton fought to keep that very group from being labeled a terrorist organization. Why is that? Well, joining us, the man who broke this story, in addition to a bunch of other stories in the last couple of weeks, Daily Beast senior correspondent Josh Rogin joins us from Washington. Josh, good morning.
Good morning.
So, kind of an amazing story you have here, that Hillary Clinton fought her own CIA over designated Boko Haram a terrorist organization. Why would she do that?
Yeah, not just the CIA, the FBI, the Justice Department, some White House officials, some officials inside her own government, her own department. The basic reason is that the Nigerian government didn't want her to do it, and she yielded to them instead of following the advice of U.S. law enforcement agencies who saw Boko Haram attack the UN building in the Nigerian capital in 2011 and said to her, this is a terrorist organization. We got to do something about it. It wasn't just them. There was a big push on Capitol Hill for 2 years. General Carter Ham, the head of Africa Command, said, we got to do this. We need the tools and authorities that this designation gives us to go after this group, and she didn't want to do it. So now she's very clear that Boko Haram is a group of terrorists, but a lot of people are arguing that they've been terrorists for quite a long time.
And this designation is not a small thing. Here's a State Department official you quote in your piece. He says, quote, the one thing she could have done, the one tool she had at her disposal she didn't use, and nobody can say she wasn't urged to do it. It is gross hypocrisy.
Yeah, so the idea here is that everybody has a different role in fighting terrorism. State Department, they do some things. This is one thing that they could do. And why didn't she do it? Well, they say it would help. It would have helped the group's recruiting. It would have given them more stature. They would have gotten worse. Well, all those things happened anyway. All of the things that they were trying to prevent actually happened. So all we did was lose 2 years of scrutiny and the ability to monitor and disrupt these groups, and it didn't actually stop them from becoming worse terrorists.
What's so poignant here is that this is not the first time Boko Haram has killed people, has kidnapped girls. I mean, this has been going on for some time, and Hillary Clinton posits herself as the defender of the world's women. So it's a little odd. She must have known that they had a history of this kind of behavior, no?
Yeah, so it speaks to her claim that she's at the forefront of protecting women and girls in conflict, which is a huge part of her record at the State Department, which she will probably run on in 2016, but it also speaks to her handling of international terrorism, which, again, has been called into big question following her handling of the attack in Benghazi, right? The criticism in Benghazi is that she didn't call it a terrorist attack soon enough, that she blamed the video, and that she didn't realize that al-Qaeda was metastasizing and growing into North Africa. Well, here's another example of al-Qaeda spreading into North Africa and the administration being asleep at the wheel, right? Their narrative was, al-Qaeda is on the run, and apparently al-Qaeda is not on the run. So it'll come up in both of those ways, both in regards to how she really protects women and girls in conflict, and whether or not she was really right about the path of terrorism while she was Secretary of State.
But very quickly, because we're basically out of time, but you must have had some pretty intense pushback from the Hillary people on this piece, I bet you.
Oh. Interestingly, the Hillary Clinton office did not respond to my request for comment, right? Because what can they say? The fact that she did this is undisputable. She hasn't come up with a justification. If she runs, you can be sure that the calls for her to explain herself will continue, and she's not going to be able to remain silent on this issue forever.
Really interesting. Interesting. Josh Rogin, thanks for joining us this morning. Great piece.
Anytime.
Well, coming up.